Hey everybody, welcome to What the Flick, Westworld Season 1, Episode 6, The Adversary. Haas is joining us today, for whatever reason.
Who have I taken the place of? Who have I replaced?
Amir's been sitting there,
It's been
actually,
kind of
for the last
cycling
couple
out a
weeks.
bit, but it has
it's
been
the
Amir.
not Ben Mankiewicz seat.
It's Amir and quiet. It's like a nice...
I will try my best to do a
It's
Ben Mankiewicz
Ben
impression.
Mankiewicz is watching the show and promises he's going to do it at some point, but he's had a very busy November.
He's wearing a brown hat. Does that make him a host?
Oh, yes, that's true.
Well, the guests wear hats too.
The guests wear white and black hats, though. I think the hosts are the ones who wear brown hats,
in fact,
right?
I believe somebody was making a big deal of the fact that Dolores wears a brown hat.
A gray hat.
A gray hat.
Gray
yes.
hat.
So there you
it's
go.
Black and
Moral
white.
gray hair.
Tim, Bibbs, Alonso. All right. Now, I've been trying to avoid the deep, dark morass of fan theories, but then last night, a friend of mine came over to dinner and said, "Oh, have you read that Vanity Fair piece that posits that there's not 2 but 3 timelines?" I'm like, "Oh, la, 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 I don't want to know."
I'm going to throw it out there right now. If that's the case, screw you, Westworld. Screw you. Are you 3 timelines? How are you going to make that? Like, a lot of the fan theories of the show are getting increasingly complicated. And it's getting to the point where if any of them are true, I'm going to like the show less. Because the show isn't really giving us a lot of the stuff. There's a couple of clues. Maybe something is going on. But, like, at what point do we just say this is just another mystery box?
I almost think that this episode, the show has started making fun of us. Because more than one character walks into a room and goes, "Arnold? Are you Arnold?
That's true.
Are you Arnold? God, who's Arnold? I
Show
gotta
of
figure this
hands,
out."
please. Anyone.
And there is a photo of Arnold that Bernard had seen currently.
Right.
But
You should know what he looks
according
like.
to Vanity Fair,
And this, I would hate it if this was
yes,
real plot.
Vanity Fair
Spoilers.
says
I love that you said that neither of you will touch the fan theories before we started,
That's
and we
all we're
instantly
doing.
well,
dove
okay,
into the
but
fan
no, I
theories.
They
read
sound
this. I read
stupid.
this article and I can't unsee it.
After this, we'll be done with fan theories.
Yes.
We'll talk about the episode.
No mas.
If Jeffrey Wright's character, if Bernard is indeed like a clone of Arnold or a robot version of Arnold, then he would have been programmed not to see anything that threatens his awareness of his
in the
existence.
same way that Dolores, looking at the picture of Times Square, said it looks like nothing to me.
Okay.
Yeah, so
but-
maybe and we only saw that photo from his POV,
perspective.
his POV shot. So that looks like someone who isn't him. We're going to see that photo and it's going to be Jeffrey Wright in there. That's the theory.
I'll take it one step further. So the person that he meets in the cabin is the person in the photograph next to Ford. They're the same actor. That's the same person.
And we just have never seen Arnold. That's what you're saying.
We've never seen Arnold, but that photograph is not centered. It is 2 people and a blank space.
Okay.
So that's another interpretation of perception filtering.
I'm gonna throw out this. That's actually an interesting idea, but I'll throw this out right here. Here's a fan theory for you. What you're seeing is what's happening. What if that's true? Would that ruin it for you? I wonder if the speculation is actually helping the show beyond the marketing, or if it's actually just creating a lot of expectations that the show can't possibly reach.
I'm
That's
reminded
like True Detective season 1, though. Like,
Exactly.
the more I get into
Yes.
it, the more I want to learn about what's going on in the background.
Yeah.
And fan theories, kind of in that sense, helped me get really into True Detective.
but did
there was
did you need to
mythology.
read The Yellow King? No, you did not.
No, but I did
Going
skim
anywhere
it.
with that but it didn't go anywhere with that mythology, though, and a lot of people ended up being really disappointed by
That's
True
true.
Detective. We talked
Also
about
very
that.
true.
I'm reminded of Maggie Simpson in the Ayn Rand daycare with the giant wall that just says A is A. So
Yeah.
let's A is A this episode and just
Alonso
kind
and I talked about this in our Dirk Gently review this week, but my point is this: a mystery box is basically the people in making the show or making the movie just say, this is going to be really interesting, folks, and they encourage you to speculate, and that speculation gets you emotionally involved. But once you open the mystery box, there has to be something there. You can't put a MacGuffin in the mystery box. So if all of these theories that were just being allowed to run rampant don't amount to anything, I think people are going to be pissed, and I think it's going to hurt the show, and I don't want that. So I'm trying to just sort of watch the show.
at face value.
Let's talk about some good face value stuff.
Let's
Yes.
do it.
We start with Maeve. She awakes with new purpose. She walks promptly to the bar and arranges for her own death
Yes.
so that she can wake up in the lab and re-engage with Felix, which is interesting.
That's great.
It is great. Yeah,
I love
don't
it.
know.
No way.
It shows a new level of
Absolutely not.
cognition.
You don't buy it?
Oh my God! First of all, no. The awakening part, I'm comfortable with. Let's say that Maeve is now like self-aware to that degree where she can kind of manipulate the environment that she's in. But the moments after that is my biggest frustration with this show when Felix is kind of influenced in a way. Felix and the other operator, Sebastian, are kind of persuaded.
Sebastian or Sylvester?
Sylvester.
Felix and
sorry.
Sylvester.
Felix and Sylvester are intimidated.
We're both cartoon cats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who created a bird?
Okay. That's
weird.
What I'm saying is the fact that I think that they were a little self-indulgent in that scene where they walk Maeve around because they wanted to show how vast the compound is and how much effort exactly goes
But it would make sense
I
that
think
she
that
would
was a
want to
favor
see
for
that.
us.
I think
Yeah,
it's
I
I think it's
understand.
from her
Yes,
perspective,
but
really.
it made
basically,
me so angry.
why did it make you angry specifically?
Because every single moment, first of all, it's a massive plot hole because every single moment is carefully documented and any sort of flagrant behavior or any sort of like behavior abnormality is auto-flagged. And we show that. They allude to that multiple times throughout the season.
But I think those tech guys know how to take them offline, which is how they bang them between,
And
Yeah.
not everyone knew they were banging them to begin with. The other thing that they did say is that someone, and this is just, they just flat out said it, someone has already messed around
Altered, yeah.
with her who has like higher clearance and can probably say, don't look at her.
Regardless that
Okay.
walking through like 5 different stories when there are so many other people around, like they're all working and going about their daily tasks, and you don't realize that an engineer who shouldn't have access to walk this person around to begin with is walking around with a behavioral pad which he shouldn't have had to begin with. We know that that's not it's illegal for him to have that. He stole it because Sylvester was very upset when he found that out initially, and no one just even turns around to be like, wait a minute, this is one of the hosts. She's dressed up, walking around with an engineer through all of the different stories.
You're right. We should cancel Westworld.
Yes,
it's
We should
done.
Cancel
That ruined
Westworld.
it. Yeah, you're right. That does ruin it.
I'm willing
clap.
to
It
let that one go.
I actually will concede. You have a very, very, very good point, and I think they probably realized that was true, but they couldn't figure out another way to let Maeve see, like the extent of I don't know what you'd even call it, like this Truman Show
complex.
background,
Yeah.
like so that she would understand just how much of everything is a lie, and so she would understand the scope of it, so that she can make the decisions she makes by the end of the episode. Sometimes you write yourselves into a corner.
Yeah.
I don't know a better solution to that, but you're right, it is a problem.
I really enjoyed the scene where the pad was predicting her dialogue tree.
Yes,
as she
that was
going.
great.
I thought that was a really effective way
Sends
to
her
prove
into
to
vapor
her.
lock. No, I thought that was great.
That was cute.
We learned that the young boy that we met a few episodes back is indeed a robot and is indeed a Robert Ford robot, because I guess the black vest should have been the giveaway. And so we find that in this one sector that no one is supposed to be in, that Arnold built a simulacra of a childhood vacation that.
Ooh, good word.
Thank you. That Robert Ford took with his family. Ford has since reprogrammed it to make Dad more realistically drunk.
And it raises the question, Bernard comes in and asks, is that Arnold? Here's a thought. What if that is Arnold? Arnold gave Ford a robot that looks like Ford's father so that he would always kind of keep it and protect it. He would never get rid of that robot. And the robot is just there in the middle of Westworld, unattended by anyone but Ford, who has his objectivity smashed.
And no one else
Gosh,
can
if only,
command
he's
it
in
with
there.
the
if only we
exception of
liked
Ford.
crazy fan theories.
No, because that's actually in the text, though.
You're right.
That's in the text.
You're right.
And no one else can command it with the exception of Ford. It doesn't abide by voice commands by anyone else, which is scary.
But presumably these are the original Million Perfect Pieces robots.
Right.
Yeah.
And not
We see
They look
young
cool.
Robert open his face
Right,
up.
right,
and
right.
They look fun.
It's neat.
Yeah. What
like
I didn't
those.
understand by that, by the way, where they said the one quote that Ford had when he says, while in our search for perfection, we lost their grace. When he mentions that they're more gracious that way, right? It was
I think
something
the
along those lines.
graceful, I think, is what he
Graceful,
meant.
yeah.
I don't think he meant
so
gracious.
That
Those
I
are
didn't,
different
not
words.
gracious, sorry, you're right, graceful,
Yeah.
but I didn't understand why it was more graceful as a robot rather than a human being.
In the sense that like a really intricate music box is, or a pocket watch,
Or think
is
about-
way more intricate and finite.
Than digital.
Yeah.
Or people who
Or-
prefer
or like
records to
a rat.
CDs, or manual transmission cars to automatic transmission cars.
Yeah.
There's
It's a craftsmanship,
And that's a theme that keeps on. That's an ongoing theme within the entire series, where they always mention whenever they talk about the robotic parts, they're like, "Whoa, these were really complicated and expensive pieces of equipment." Whereas the human versions now, like the more humanoid, the sentient androids, are are
Cheaper,
not, yeah,
disposable.
they're cheaper,
Yeah.
they're disposable, they're easier to fix, but also worse.
Now,
somehow.
I have a question that I'm just wondering if this is just me not paying enough attention, and this could fit into the whole timeline thing. Is there a point where the church hasn't been built yet, and then the church is built?
I don't have enough information about the church.
Because we see the church, when he's out and about talking to Bernard.
Burned and buried.
Right, but then we also see when we see the big machines that are building up the next narrative for him, it seems like the church is the thing that's about to be built. And when he has the model on his desk, it seems like the church is the thing that's about to be built. And so I'm just getting confused about that. If there's a pre-church and a post-church timeline, or if I'm just missing something that connects.
No, I don't think
think
you're
it's
missing
confusing.
anything. Yeah, I don't think we have enough information yet. We also learned that Ford, despite what he says, is a sentimental person. So it wouldn't be crazy if he rebuilds something that meant a lot to him from a past narrative.
True. Good
Yeah.
point.
Well, that's actually a really good point. I was thinking about that where Ford consistently mentions that he knows that these are not human beings, no matter how well built they are, and he treats them lesser than. But you kind of see that change when he's talking about his own family members. But is he looking at them as curiosities or as toys, or is he genuinely that's one question I had about it. Where is Ford completely aware that these are obviously not his real family members, and he's just simply using them as toys, like something like a photo, like a living, breathing photograph that
knows
reminds
they're
him of
different.
He turns them off and on. He exposes their inner parts.
But he
Right?
knows they're different because he knows they can lie to him.
That's true. He knows that now.
Well, he knows
anyway.
that now. He didn't know that.
Well, I
That's
mean,
true.
if you didn't entertain the idea that something could lie to you, would you ask it if it's lying?
Yes.
Wow, we got real folks.
That was some real labyrinth shit, man. That made me really ugh.
I don't know.
Yeah,
but,
that's a fair question.
But again, obviously he knows that Arnold built them.
Yeah.
So maybe he
Built them for him.
For him. So
But now
so-
he's maybe learning really why Arnold built them for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to talk about the Scooby-Doo subplot, where our young engineer goes into Westworld, finds this hacking terminal, finds out that their boss has been hacking into it, which I don't buy for a minute. That she's actually
you
breaking
think
in
it's
there.
Teresa?
I don't think she's an
Teresa's a setup?
engineer.
Do you think she's covering up her own personal tracks? In reality, she's the corporate spy, but now is shifting the blame over to Teresa? I didn't read a fan fiction theory.
No. Well, actually, you know what I actually thought was, and I could be wrong about this, but there's a scene where Maeve is walking down the hallway and you see that big ad. I could have sworn I saw our new corporate tycoon, or our new corporate executive visitor in that video.
Okay,
I could have sworn.
When
I could
first
be
saw
wrong.
her, I got the same impression when we first see her at the pool bar, which by the way somehow is this place that they didn't really mention at all. They kind of showed as an empty space up there a bunch of times in small snippets, but now it's a big centerpiece of the whole Westworld theme
it might
park
be a different
executive
building.
location.
Yeah,
But,
it might not keep consistent hours. Maybe first thing in the morning it's not open.
yeah. Well,
Or maybe
but-
this is the hotel building and all the
Right.
work is
Yeah,
going
where
on
everyone's
somewhere
staying
else.
there before they go into the Westworld.
Base camp.
So when she was there, I got the same impression where I thought this person is definitely not she seems like a host.
Yeah.
But then again, they
If you
built
have-
the show in such a way that you can never
God,
clearly
we're
If you
distinguish.
have-
so bad at not speculating.
No, speculating is fine, but you need to speculate based on what's actually in the
Okay,
show.
that's fine.
That's
Yeah.
my point.
That's
if the show is actually telling you stuff, like when they say, "Oh yeah, someone programmed Maeve," the show wants you to speculate about that. I'm talking about not reading something where the show doesn't tell you specifically there's something there.
But you're right. As far as the Scooby-Doo subplot goes, the moment that she hangs up the phone while he's saying "be careful," I'm like, well, she's a goner.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's gonna get kidnapped
Yeah.
or something. We'll find out who that is. I'm sure that's a thing.
But now we have our first Delos board member arriving, and so that's you were saying that's such a Meg Ryan setup of
yeah.
the person that you drunkenly talk to at the bar is your new boss.
I
Why?
love that.
You know?
Yeah.
That's a funny way to interpret
That's
that.
really
yeah.
great. Oh, the thing I wanted to bring up is that if that young lady, if that person from Delos is indeed a host, that makes perfect sense to me, because if you think you have actual, corporate espionage, who do you trust to infiltrate and keep their objectivity. Well, you have robots.
Someone you can program to
Yeah,
not
Right.
be
Why not
bought
literally
out.
see through their eyes.
Why not do that? That makes perfect sense to me.
She's just way too sexy to be a board member, too. Like, you know
That
what I
is
mean?
sexist.
That is really sexist.
Yes.
That's
No,
spectacularly
I mean, like, young,
sexist.
like too young. I'm ageist too, not just sexist.
Okay, good. All right, good. As long as you're a monster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like ageist and
God,
sexist.
do
in
you wanna-
that sense. But if it
she's
was
black,
a dude, I
too.
would
You
say
wanna
the
go
same
there? I
thing.
mean, what the
Like,
hell?
I would be like,
That
What
"Shut
about
dude
Ben
is
Barnes?
way
Ben
too
Barnes
sexy.
is probably about her same age, and he's a hunk. Like, is he too old to, or is he too young and too sexy to be like someone of significance at a company who might actually be able
Narrative
to say
is
we want to
different
buy?
than being a board member, though. But
No, but he's
No.
he's a visitor though.
Logan.
Sorry,
Oh,
Logan.
Logan
Ben,
is
Ben Barnes is the
Logan's
actor who
the
plays
sexy
Logan.
one.
Yes.
Hassan. Come on.
Yeah,
I don't know what you viewed
he's
as
a hunk
sexy, though.
machine.
Wasn't
He's
Megan.
probably about
Can
her
we
same
move
age.
on to Teddy and
Sorry.
the Man in Black?
Yes, Black. So their storyline is brief but satisfying. I
Yes.
think.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So Teddy, not the namby-pamby.
Not the
version
voice
of
that we
before.
thought he would be.
Yeah, well, that's kind of fun.
But is this
You
all?
don't know me at all.
But is this all new Teddy narrative, or is it just is this information?
Yeah, we
we've
get
been-
another glimpse at like more Teddy backstory. Now he's on Wyatt's side, shooting all of
We're
his
gonna
fellow
find out
soldiers.
he's Wyatt at this point.
No,
Would that
we
be
saw
so-
No, we
Wyatt.
know
We
who
did see
Wyatt
Wyatt,
is.
but people get reprogrammed.
But that,
That's true.
But not with the same face though. Like Wyatt's a different person.
Wyatt's a different guy.
But yeah, it seems clear that. But again, Wyatt didn't exist until recently, or at least
I
recently.
know that's really frustrating to me. Where was Wyatt even a real character? Was he doing something else and then they
we
repurposed
see
him?
Ford add Wyatt to the Teddy backstory.
Yeah.
When we saw Ford add Wyatt to the Teddy backstory, I couldn't tell you, but it did happen during the run of this show. So
And Wyatt may be integral to the maze.
Which
Right.
would mean he's a new element of the maze, and the maze is actually an active storyline and not all that secret anyway.
But
Perhaps.
when you think about the backstory behind the maze, and this is the first time Teddy kind of mentions it and says that like most hosts know what this is. This is like a religious thing. And even before Wyatt was mentioned, the maze was in existence. When you see, the Man in Black cut
the scalp.
scalp
it
someone.
was the brand they were going to put on Teddy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the Dharma Initiative.
I'm confused at what Ford knows about the maze, because I thought he knew everything, but then he glances at the maze and like he rushes back to his office and pulls open the old books and is like, there it is.
That
I'm
was
like,
a loophole.
It's like
it's like
if this world is an Al Hirschfeld cartoon, the maze is the Nina. It's like pops up in all these random corners everywhere. And yeah, how do you not know that it's there? if it's
Bernard
that-
seems very well versed on the maze, but
Right.
Ford is figuring stuff out still.
Yeah, Ford has. I'm assuming those are the Arnold notebooks that have the drawings
Maybe
of
there's
Dolores. and
50 timelines, and that's why no one knows anything.
Did anyone catch anything else interesting in the looking through the original hosts that Arnold built? I saw Dolores Abernathy.
I saw Dolores
That
too. I was looking
expected.
through those faces as well,
Did
hoping I'd
anything
see
else
like
jump out at
Lawrence.
you?
Or no, not really.
Not-
did we catch
They only
the,
saw like 3 though, and there's supposed to be like 70.
Did we catch the Yul Brynner
Yeah.
cameo?
Yeah, that was cute.
Which I first saw it, I thought, no, that can't. Oh wait, it is.
came with the
Everyone
music
said it
cue,
was a
too.
thing.
Yeah.
That's cute.
Yeah, no, I like.
That's cute. Let's let him have it.
It shows respect for the source
Yeah.
material, I think.
Yeah, that's nice.
A little Easter egg there.
Little Easter
but,
egg.
But what I was gonna say originally about the mazes, or Teddy mentions it, it's this is the first time they kind of explain the mythology behind the maze,
Yeah.
or at least how the hosts know it and interpret it. And I kind of like the fact that we are seeing the maze everywhere now, whereas in the beginning of the show, in the first couple of episodes, you would rarely see it. Once or twice, and is it something that it has to be something that Arnold built in the beginning, because that mythology goes along with exactly what Teddy was mentioning, because like Arnold is the man, like it's kind of alluding to that Arnold is the man that built the maze around himself because he died a million times, and
Which would only, but they specifically say the person who built the maze, again, in this myth that fictional characters believe, in a fictional, God, it hurts. Okay, anyway.
It's so meta.
Don't go down that rabbit hole.
In this maze myth, the person at the center of the maze has died many times and come back, which seriously implies that the person at the center of the maze is a host. So it could be Arnold downloaded himself into a host.
Yes.
Or Arnold has created a host for another purpose.
Self-aware host.
Like it could be one of those things where it's like at the end of the Matrix 2 where Neo goes into the thing and it's just dude in business suit in front of TVs with like, you didn't expect it. Kudos for that. It wasn't obvious, but then it's enormously dissatisfying.
oh yeah.
And so it could just not be Arnold. Arnold could show up in season 5
Yeah, we could
And-
never see
and-
Arnold for them.
Well,
Yeah,
now
exactly.
that
For all we
Maeve
know.
is turning herself into Lucy, maybe she'll figure all this out.
Perhaps.
Yeah, she's.
yeah, I find that she has the most compelling story.
Okay,
I love her
no
right
question,
now.
Another
yeah.
thing, but like the
Be
Maeve
angry.
storyline. No, the Maeve storyline really makes me so mad because then, okay, first of all, why are they intimidated by Maeve when they should be able to easily shut her down?
Well, they can't
Or-
because she's
they
waking
can't
up.
remember
But if they
before,
can,
they
but if they can
couldn't.
put up her intelligence up to that level, maybe bring it all the way down to a 0, and then when she's like, I don't know what's going on, then boom, you have your way with
Felix
her to say the least.
wants her online.
Yeah,
Because
Felix
this
is enticed
this
by
is,
this.
This is his ticket to behavioral. This is a promotion for him. This is super interesting stuff that nobody else is doing. This is, to him, groundbreaking
And
stuff.
Sylvester isn't very smart.
No, he's
Yes.
very dumb.
Even though they're
Felix-
surgeons, by the way.
You can be, you can have a lot of
They're
skill and still
butchers,
be
they're
dumb.
janitors.
There's a lot
Yeah.
of people who are very, very smart, who have terrible social lives, or not very philosophically aware, who are simply very unhappy, or who make silly decisions in their daily lives.
Ben
People
Carson.
do it all the time.
Ben Carson.
Felix has found a glitch, and so if he can ride it out, then he can. Yeah, it's his ticket to bigger and better things within the corporation.
I appreciate that character A isn't as smart as you would think they would be, isn't satisfying, but I do buy it as plausible. That they're just not intelligent people and they're being taken advantage of.
If only they could re-roll their bulk
I was
perception.
still referring to like how to handle Maeve in a
Well,
less.
she's also very good at charming people and getting
That
them
is
to
true.
do
She's
what
got
she
a program.
She's got an
wants.
18. 18
Yeah.
for charm.
Well, she had in Charm.
And isn't there somebody else in this episode who says like I'm good at getting people to do what I want or something? I seem to recall there being a parallelism,
Yeah, there was.
and I'm forgetting
I
what it was.
imagine it. Ford?
There was a parallel in Dirk Gently this week,
Was,
so I'm
was
getting it's
anyone
all
else?
blurring together.
Yeah. Was anyone else upset that Dolores all of a sudden she's a badass and I'm really enticed and I want to see what she's going to do, and then boom, they just kind of take her away from you for the whole episode?
Yep. That's fun, right?
I was surprised we didn't get her this week, but I think also there's a lot of areas to go into here, and so I think they had other places to be. And
Yeah,
so,
I complain about pacing on The Walking Dead all the time, but I'm glad we got a chance to let Maeve and the lab storylines grow a little bit.
That's true.
Because those are two that we hadn't seen a whole lot of. We got a lot of non-Westworld set pieces this week, so I'm pleased with it.
Do you guys think we'll ever see the outside world, outside of Westworld?
I
Like,
would hope
what
so,
the-
but I don't need it right now.
Don't care.
No, I want to. Again, it confuses me and frustrates me to get glimpses of what the outside world might be like when you see the man in black and that he's like the leader of he's in charge of a massive foundation, and then when we hear about how it's $40,000 a day to go and attend the park, and you want to understand, is that a symptom of inflation?
Yeah,
What
a
kind
lot of
society
people
are we in?
That's a lot of people to be that rich.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, it opens up a can of worms, because if they zoom out and it's a dome on the moon,
Yeah.
or the Earth is scorched,
Or it's Dark City or something like that. Yeah.
or it looks just like how we expect Earth to look like in 2016, like that either adds nothing or way too much.
Yeah.
Again, that's my problem with the idea of the show as a mystery box, where this sort of speculation matrix that we're all in about stuff that, again, the show isn't specifically giving us as a plot point. They're teasing Arnold. Speculating about Arnold is reasonable.
If they don't
Speculating
wanna-
about what's outside of Westworld, we don't have a lot to go on.
Yeah, and if they're not going to bring it up, then I'm just going to assume it's not important for the moment.
For now, and I'm just going to let it happen.
In the back of my mind, I'm like,
I'm being nitpicky.
No, I think it's
no, I mean,
reasonable.
it's interesting. I've raised the question, like, are we even on Earth? But
Yeah,
ultimately, I don't think unless and until it feeds the plot, don't tell.
Oh, do you guys? Okay, this is something that the show does point to, so I will speculate really quickly.
Do
since
it.
We're getting the rap signal from
Live.
here, but
So many.
Live your life.
the amount of work that it takes to create even like a non-important, just small part of the world, like a bison. The man hours required to create that bison, and then basically physical therapy its way into being into bisonhood. Because we see that.
I
with
assumed
Maeve.
that wasn't for the bison. I assumed that was for someone who would have to be like a herder.
Oh, I
How
thought it
does
was.
he herd a
I
bison?
thought it was the bison.
I thought because
you
see
also
the
see
horses.
the deer
You-
and the horses.
yeah,
and the
there's
deer.
a deer.
It's both.
Is there a deer
They're
tamer?
all livestock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To the technicians and
Right.
the engineers, they're all on the same level.
No, but what I'm saying is the amount of man hours required to create that, there is no way, regardless of how expensive the park is, I can't feasibly wrap my head around all of those people being real humans, and then I feel like there are also other hosts that are just specifically
Right.
tuned.
I want the
to
bison to
create
start
that.
talking. It turns out the bison is Arnold.
The bison.
Arnold? The bison is Arnold. Make it a hashtag, make it trend.
The bicentennial.
The bison is Arnold.
No, I've been saying all along that the park is a lost leader for Delos that has some other nefarious purpose.
And
in it.
again, the show
They've
said
said that. They have said
Flat
that.
out said
right, and so I think but it's a question of what it is, and that's the thing.
The
Again, we can
mystery we're
speculate
not
about it
paying
because they're
attention
talking
to.
about it. It's in the show.
These are the rules.
All right, so much to cover, and we'll be doing it again next week. Join us then.
Hashtag the bison is Arnold.